ipconfig is a very universal or a very versatile tool. So let's take a look at some of what it can do. We're going to click on Start and then Command Prompt, bring up a command prompt, and then I'm going to type ipconfig and then a space and then / and question mark. And as you can see, what it can do absolutely fills the screen and then leaves and keeps on going. We've got the command that we just used. We can also use an all, which will display full configuration information. We're going to take a look at that. We can also use it to release and renew IP addresses. So if you're using a DHCP server in your network, you want to release the IP address from the DHCP server. In other words, you want to release the IP address from the client that the DHCP server has assigned. You can use ipconfig release for this. This is especially important if you're moving the computer from one subnet to another. You really want to go ahead and get the IP address out of there so that when it starts up in the new subnet, it doesn't think it has an IP address for another subnet. That'll just cause it to start up very slowly and then start up with errors. We can also look at the contents of the DNS resolver cache, which is part of DNS name resolution. There are many things that we can do with ipconfig. So let's just do a couple of these. What we're going to do is type ipconfig. And I want you to notice if I just type ipconfig and then press enter, we do get some IP information. We get the IP address, subnet mask, and the default gateway. That's all we get. Now I'm going to use my DOS key. I'm just going to press on the up arrow on the keyboard, and that'll bring back my last command, and then I'm going to add to that a space and / and all, and then press enter. So with an ipconfig all command, it gives me a tremendous amount more information. The host name of the computer, as we said, was domain C1, domain controller 1, and then lots of information in regards to IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, DNS servers, primary WIN server, even the physical address is here, so, and even the description of the network adapter is here. So we've got a tremendous amount more information with ipconfig all. If we wanted to take a look at the DNS cache, we type in ipconfig and then display DNS. So if I press my up arrow a couple of times, press it one time, I get ipconfig all, press it again, I get ipconfig, and then a space and / display DNS. You don't have to do it that way. You can type it in again if you want, but that's a shortcut, a good way to use it. Those are called DOS keys. If you just use use the up arrow to find the information that you've already used. So with ipconfig display DNS, I'm going to press enter, and it'll show me what is in my DNS name resolver. And you can see there's a lot in there. That's because this computer is connected to the internet and it's been resolving addresses out on the internet. So we've got this information that is in our cache. Where you might want to use this is if a computer is having a hard time getting a connection to a site on the web that you absolutely know is there. Like for example, if you type msnbc.com on a browser on a computer and it says it can't display the page, but on other computers you type msnbc.com and the MSNBC page comes up. Well, it's because there's some old cache information that has an old IP address. And when I say old, I mean msnbc.com might not keep the same IP addresses for for weeks or for months. They might make changes to servers and they would have the same DNS address, but it would resolve to different IP addresses. But if this cache is saying that it resolves to a certain IP address, then you can have a problem. So if somebody is trying to access a site, whether that's in your network or whether it's on the internet, and you know it's there, but anytime you do it on that computer, you're not being able to get to it, then it's probably because of what's in the cache. So if what I want to do then is flush the cache, then I would type ipconfig, and what would you think? Flush DNS, right? Flush DNS, and press enter, and it says successfully flushed the DNS resolver cache. Well, let's find out. Let's type ipconfig display DNS, or we could just use our DOS key to find the display DNS and then press enter. And we'll see then that the only thing that is left is just the local loopback, and the reason that that is back in there is because it replaced itself right after I flushed the DNS. But as you can see, that whole long list isn't there anymore, so I would be willing to bet now that if I was on a computer, I was on a browser, and I was typing in msnbc.com and I couldn't get to it, now that I've flushed the cache, I can go to the browser, type msnbc.com again, and the page would come up immediately. So as you can see, ipconfig is a very versatile tool that can be used for troubleshooting, and the more you know about the network, the more you know about troubleshooting, the more that you can use this tool.